Ew. Ew.
Where's the other thing?
What are you doing? Ew.
He's just being a cat. Little dude, you gotta chill out.
He was trying to like crawl between there, and he was like breaking the claws out. It's like, hey, chill.
All right, well, we're live now,
Yeah.
as we can see from the video.
Hi, internet.
And testing. Chat works.
Good
All right,
test.
chat works. Excellent.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll
Maybe.
see.
We'll
It's
see.
like a 50-50 shot, really.
Yeah.
I mean, two chats.
Yeah, it's
The
open in
correct
the-
chat, and then the maybe this works chat.
It's open in the correct browser and all of that, so that should be good.
All right, let me switch this into Prelude.
We're not even doing a prelude, so I mean, you can...
I didn't do anything this fucking
It's
week
fine.
anyway.
It's fine.
I went to the gym. That's not
I
exciting.
binge-watched Queer Eye and Veronica Mars.
Yeah, Veronica Mars.
Oh yeah, Veronica Mars. I still need to watch that.
I went back and I watched the Veronica Mars movie,
Mm.
and then started Veronica Mars.
Was there? I thought it was a TV show before. Was it a
was.
movie
It was.
before?
And then
They
they made
did.
a movie. They did a
Oh.
Kickstarter movie, but like actual movie quality movie.
They did like with Kristen Bell and everything.
Yeah, it's on HBO.
Like, the entire cast came back for it.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, more so than they did for the new series.
So, yeah, it's like 3 seasons movie, then 4th season is the way that it goes.
Okay.
All right, ready?
It's important because it explains where they got to where they're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that movie is actually necessary because where the show ends versus the next season, a lot of shit happened.
Yeah.
and that's where the movie's at.
All right, let's do it. It's Comic-Con time, and we've got a lot to say. Adventurers, toss on your superhero tights and get ready for an all-new episode.
As opposed to your non-superhero type.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes you just have tights or like a onesie.
If you're a theater person, you
Yeah.
probably have tights.
Fucking, I mean, Supergirl doesn't have tights anymore, which I'm super sad about.
All right, let's go.
She didn't have tights for like ages. She had a skirt.
There were tights under the skirt. Just like skirt tights.
I don't remember. I just remember a skirt.
All right.
She's wearing pants now. She's wearing skin tight pants. She's wearing fucking tights.
They basically made it impossible for her to pee wearing the costume. It almost looks like that was their goal.
That looks like it'd be horrible. Yo, what's up? He's been
Every superhero costume is specifically designed to not be able to pee in, except for the CGI suits, and that's because, well,
Because they're in them all goddamn day.
oh no, because they're just green, so you can like green a fucking like
Yeah.
Velcro spot easily.
Yeah.
True.
Or as we found out that Mark Ruffalo created a modesty pouch
Oh, nice.
that he was trying to convince everybody else to use because he invented it for himself. I'm not making this up.
No, that sounds like a very Mark Ruffalo thing to do.
What's his name that plays War Machine? Don Cheadle was the one that told that story about how Mark Ruffalo invented that and was trying to get because they both were in like full CGI out like full green
Yeah.
screen shit, and Mark Ruffalo was trying to convince him to do it. He's like, no.
No, I don't need an ass.
I mean, I'll wear one, but I didn't really know much. He was like, I need a much bigger one than what you've got. Oh, it was good stuff. It's good stuff. Green screen. Option to show images, like
So we can pose like, here's the modesty pouch.
I could actually do that. It would
Yeah.
require me facing a computer and not turning
everybody else.
entirely
Yeah.
sideways to do that. So I could press a button and be like, "Look, here's
That's on
the
our
thing."
someday list when
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have an actual better
Like it would
place.
require work, but it also require me having like an editing studio setup thing and shit. That I'm not even looking at the camera. I'm looking at the fucking chat window. I don't-
Yeah.
All right, let's jump
I
into
watch
this.
enough
We
people
gotta-
who do shitty fucking streams. Like, okay, I watch one thing. I watch fucking the Paul's Hardware, and
Oh, yeah.
I sometimes watch their weekly thing, which is them talking in front of a camera. But they have it on 2 different sets. They have one at each house, so they go back and forth between them every other week.
Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. We are the Surly Nerd, your one-stop shop for geek news that might have flown under your radar over the last week. I'm your host, James, and sitting across from me is the producer of this fine show, Tony.
Hey,
And with us, as always, is our third chair host, Hector.
Howdy.
And if you're new to the show, hey, welcome. This week we're doing things a bit differently. Instead of having our news segment and our main topic, this week's episode is anything and everything that was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Don't forget that you can keep connected with us through thesurlynerd.com. You can follow us on all social media platforms and even donate to the show. Every penny donated goes right back into the show that we make for you every week. With all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, adventurers of all ages, it's time for San Diego Comic-Con 2019.
Feels weird not doing the prelude.
I know.
I think I feel like even during the fucking like E3 we did the prelude.
Sometimes I know we haven't done it once or
It's
twice.
because E3 we had 2 episodes that week. One of them
that's
had
right.
one of them had the prelude, the other one didn't.
That's probably why I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
What's that crinkling noise?
It's the keyboard.
Okay. I just hear this weird crinkle, like plastic being bent
Yes,
noise.
it's me on the keyboard.
Don't do that.
Okay. Whatever helps you sleep at night, Tony.
It's whatever makes good audio, and hearing crink crink in the middle of everything is very distracting.
Creak, creak.
Comic-Con.
All right, adventures. This last week was San Diego Comic-Con 2019, and holy crap, was there a lot that happened. In fact, that's why we are giving it its just entire news segment this episode. Let's just jump right in. First thing that was announced, which I don't think should be really a surprise to anybody, but is exciting nonetheless. Marvel Comics announced a Spider-Verse limited series starring Miles Morales.
Awesome.
I mean, I expected that. Once, with how well the movie did,
Yeah.
we, in the next 2 years, we're going to get something Spider-Verse Miles Morales related.
Which is awesome.
And I like the character. I like that movie. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Do it already?
When you really
Yeah.
think about the impact that Into the Spider-Verse had, nobody really knew whether or not that was going to do well when it came out.
True.
I mean, they were hedging their bets on this. They were saying, like, we're going to do a non-Peter Parker movie, and it's going to be about the Spider-Verse, which is already a, like, really abstract concept itself. And we're going to bundle all this into one package and hope that kids go and see it.
And then animate it for 5 years and
animate
spend
it
all the fucking money on it. And even our animation's going to be weird. It's not going to be normal animation at all.
Right. We're going to, like, have
Yeah, we're
different
going to
types of
stylize the shit out of
It's
this
all going to
thing.
look like a comic book because we're using screen printing
I'm
techniques.
telling you that if somebody walked into my boardroom and, like, brought that in as a proposal, I'd be like, you're fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like,
How
nothing-
high are you
Or
right
Right,
now?
how high
just
are
like
you?
when did you become James Cameron, where you can just barge in here and suggest something insane?
Right, exactly.
Show me your
We
Titanic.
already have
then
one of
come
those.
back.
We have James Cameron.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so we shouldn't be surprised that we're seeing this kind of Spider-Verse related comic. But I'm just happy that we're finally getting it. I'm also happy that we're talking about a Comic-Con episode and actually talking about comics.
Yeah, that is
I
nice.
have a few news
I
items
can
that are.
guarantee the majority of this conversation is going to be about what movie and TV shows are going on.
That is
Well,
true.
yeah, that's been Comic Con for like the last at least 10
Yeah,
years,
because
if not more.
See, that's what pisses me off. Like San Diego Comic Con got all fucking up in arms so they could keep the name Comic Con, but there's no fucking comic books at San Diego Comic Book Convention.
Well, I mean, there's
Movies and TV shows and young adult books and a lot of TV shows that have no reason to fucking be in there, but they decided to do it anyway as part of their marketing agenda.
Well, this year had a lot of comic book related stuff.
yeah, which I was actually happy to see as a newly converted like every week comic reader. I was like, oh, I wonder what's around the corner. And
Yeah,
it looked
DC
really cool.
had a lot of panels. They didn't really have anything super newsworthy for me to put in here. It was more of kind of updates of what they're going to be doing.
well,
for the next year.
DC's been announcing the news for like the past month and a half.
Right, that's the thing.
Like
is
they
that-
haven't really been like waiting, saving anything for San Diego.
Exactly. Like they were panels with artists and writers that have already made their announcements already. So it was
Yeah.
just kind of a
And that way you can talk to, you can get more questions out there.
Yeah.
They can answer the fans and
Yeah.
get that feedback.
I almost think it's better that way for stuff like comics because you can say, I'm doing a thing, and everyone can go, woo. Wait, you can't show us. No, can't show you a fucking thing.
Yep.
Haven't drawn any of it yet. And even if I had, it'd be stupid to show you those images.
Oh yeah, I mean they're right now they're working on the new like X-Men relaunch, and like they can't really divulge many of the details
Yeah.
of it. They're like, here's the concept art. Hope you like it. Like-
Also, none of this will ever be in the movie. This is all nonsense that's completely going to change. But this is what we're working from. So cool.
yeah, I mean, so everything they're working on right now for Marvel Comics. I'm just glad that Marvel Comics had a strong presence when it came to their book titles this year.
Yeah.
Even going so far as to, if you follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/thisearlynerd.
Look at you doing that, dropping that.
Would have seen that I already posted this or I retweeted this, which was the mysterious 2099 thing that they put up.
Yeah.
So it was just a black background, the word just the numbers 2099 on it. It had a date on it for like November 29th or something like that. So all we can tell at this point going forward is that they're relaunching or diving back into the world of 2099.
Okay.
These really bad comics from the 90s that I adore way too much.
I feel
they
like
are not good. There was like one.
See, the thing is, like,
I feel like we're too close. This is going to be, because I mean, it's not like incredibly far fetched that someone listens to this show and lives past 2099, and we just have Demolition Man all over again. Movie comes out in like 93, and it shows 1996, and LA is like a dystopian, like apocalyptic nightmare with nothing but military presence and roaming gangs. Not that it's very far off, but like they said 96, and it's 2019, and I can get a cronut in LA.
Well, see, I mean, you can't use that argument though, because we got Cyberpunk 2077 coming out, and we're just like, cool, yeah, all that seems entirely probable by then. Hard,
right,
no,
but at least
it's not going to happen.
But at least it says Cyberpunk on it, so you get like the gist of it. Spider-Man 2099 is going to have some crazy future shit that we will not have in 2099. I promise you that.
You're hedging your bet that like humanity's going to be around by 2099.
That's a good point.
So for those of you who did not
that's
follow
my theory
the
for the story.
2099 comics way back in the 90s, Marvel did a very limited run of comics. It was like Doom 2099, X-Men 2099, Spider-Man, something called Ravager, which I never read.
I remember Spider-Man.
A few of them. Out of all of those titles,
Spider-Man was the only one in
the
it
one,
worthwhile.
The one that really matters is Spider-Man 2099 because he's been making appearances in the Spider-Verse. He's crossed over several times. Miguel O'Hara is one of my favorite characters, honestly. He's really cool.
Nice.
And so them wanting to go back to that well a little bit and go back to those, I'm excited about it because right now we have some really great writing talent within Marvel Comics, specifically people like Donny Cates, who obsessively is all about 90s stuff. Like he's currently working on a series called Absolute Carnage.
All right.
And it's completely for his love of the like Maximum Carnage series from the 90s. And so he's like really taking that from the stuff that he read growing up and is just kind of expanding on it.
Honestly, yeah, if there's somebody I wanted to do Spider-Man 2099, Donny Cates is kind of like, yeah, you're doing stuff that I like already. We're like the same age, so we grew up reading the same shit. We both love Maximum Carnage. We both love the Spider-Man 2099. I'm like, cool. You have completed just.
Donny Cates is the only person like in the history of Marvel Comics since the 90s, since the creation of the character that said, you know who I thought was cool? Darkhawk. And everybody went, who?
Yeah.
And there was like 5 of us in the back being like, yeah, fucking Darkhawk, let's do this, man. He's like, I'm going to put him in the Guardians of the Galaxy. And everybody's like, but who the fuck's Darkhawk? Like, the fuck is this guy? So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about them doing a relaunch of 2099, even if it's just for a few issues, going back to those universes and exploring it. I would not be opposed to getting an ongoing Spider-Man 2099 again. I loved the original series. You can get it in trade. I think it still holds up really well.
Oh, cool.
It's the one artifact from that time period that really does.
I wouldn't mind a short run of Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah.
And people who may have stuck around for the entirety of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie would have seen him because he does show up in the after credits sequence.
That was a great.
I don't think I have been that excited in an after credits scene since the Thanos reveal.
Like I
was sitting here like laughing at it, like, oh, that's pretty funny, and James is over here like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was losing my shit.
I got really confused because right before that it said thank you for like the Spider-Man the footage from Spider-Man 1966, 1967. I was like, they didn't have a single shot of that in the movie, and then that sequence started, and it's like, what the fuck? It was so good. I am, for one, this out of the comic book news that came out of San Diego is the one that I'm kind of most optimistic for, but also we got so little actual information.
I know.
It's kind of like, okay, I guess next year we'll find out if it's going to be a 6-issue thing or something.
Right. So one of the things we did find out about this week was something that Comixology is working on. So Comixology has what they call their Originals program. This is just content you can only purchase through Comixology. It usually does come out in limited print runs, so you can still pick it up there. But Chip Zdarsky, who has done amazing work on Spider-Man, who is currently working on like several titles. His Daredevil run. I've never really read Daredevil before. I'm currently reading his run, and I'm absolutely hooked.
Nice.
Of course,
everything he's written that I've read,
as of this last week, he is now an Eisner Award winner.
Nice.
So he's doing pretty good.
Wasn't his speech "I'm drunk"?
Yes, he got up and was like, "I love Comic-Con. Also, guys, I'm drunk." So Chip.
I'm just going to end my speech there.
Chip Zdarsky, Eisner Award-winning. I showed this picture to Hector earlier. There's a tweet that he made shortly after he won the award, probably still while drunk. It's a screenshot of, you can tell it's in. He's got his Outlook open, and it's like The two was everyone at DC Comics, everyone at Marvel Comics, subject Daredevil, all 2-sentence line. By the way, in the next issue, Daredevil's going to show his penis. No, I'm not taking it back. It's just going to be out there. And it was just like, he's just like so full of like ego now. Like, not in a bad way. He's having so much fun with the fact that he's like an award-winning like comic book
because he
writer
started
now.
more under the like the indie comics. Like, not like indie comics where it's like weird shit like zines and stuff, but like he was making more his own stories, his own characters that did so well that he's now writing the big guy stories.
One of the awards that he won this year for the Eisners was his work on Spider-Man 310, which I have. That was the issue that I picked up. It's a single read issue. You don't have to read anything else before or after it, and you will cry. Like, he wrote an issue of Spider-Man that will make a single issue that will make you cry by the end of it. Wow. It's that good.
I still need to go see the new Spider-Man movie.
So, he is working on a new project for Comixology. It's part of their originals program, and it's a very limited series. It's going to be called Afterlift. And so I'll just kind of read you the premise of it. So Afterlift centers on Janice Chen, who quits her job in finance and becomes a driver on a ride-sharing app. Her new job seems to suit her well enough until one passenger enters hell as their desired destination. The series will run for 5 issues and is set to release this year in digital and physical forms. This comic that he's writing is reinterpreting the concept of hell for a modern age. So we perceive, typically when we think of the term hell, we perceive a very old school puritanical fire and brimstone, pot poker on your balls kind of thing.
Yeah.
He wants to go back into the concept of hell and explore what it is in terms of how it would work within a modern society, because it's just not practical anymore. Right. We would have much more vicious shit or much more psychologically disturbing things than what we came up with hundreds of years ago when we invented the concept of hell.
Yeah, I mean, demons that after so long get a little cliche and they're not scary anymore, such as all horror. When you do it over and over again, it's definitely no longer scary.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of writers out there that if I read this was kind of their byline for their comic, I'd be like, this might be a little pretentious. I don't think so with Zdarsky. He has so much emotion that he pours into the page, and he's so kind of like little. You could tell he's a little messed up, but like in the good way. That spark of like a really creative genius, and so him doing something like this just sounds absolutely brilliant. And I am glad that it's getting a physical release because I absolutely would want to pick it up in that.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really interested in this, just because again I like everything he's written that I've read at this point, and I like the premise. It's very interesting. I want to see his take on it. I just kind of wish I didn't. I just kind of want the physical version.
Yeah, he's been working in the realm of like Marvel Comics for quite a while. He hasn't been working a ton on his own projects. So, he's been busy writing Daredevil and Spider-Man and everything else.
Yeah. Which, again, that's he graduated to that level. But at the same time, I liked him from before he was writing those things and want him to still write his own shit that's not.
But you got to think like this is he's got the nut stored up at this point. And so now he's getting to get the release by getting a new thing out there.
So you're saying is he's going to blow his load all over this.
Absolutely.
Going to blast his rope right in your face.
Yeah. It's going to be fantastic.
Just make some knuckle babies.
So I have not played the game 2064 read-only memories. I'm familiar with it. I know that it's a adventure style game. It's more like narrative focused. It's a cyberpunk game that's been very, very popular. It's been kind of touted alongside like Valhalla or whatever it's called.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of in that same vein.
If I remember correctly, that is part of the Xbox Game Pass, so you have that.
Yes.
Kind of more like a
fucking play it, bitch.
More like a digital novel than anything.
Yeah, it's
else.
more of a digital novel. But yes, 2064 Read Only Memories is actually getting a IDW comic adaptation.
Neat.
So the
indie game gets a not so indie comic book, because IDW, while they are a smaller publisher, isn't
But they're all about
a super indie publisher.
Yeah, I mean, these IDW is a company that handles giant licenses. They handle Transformers, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, Star Wars. Sonic.
That's why it makes sense why they would be handling it, because they do so many licenses.
Yeah.
They do some of their own IPs, though.
They do.
IDW was the one that did Lock and Key, if I remember correctly, and
Yes,
that was its
absolutely.
own separate thing. It wasn't based on anything else. So it makes sense that they're doing that there, but it's kind of cool that this like small indie game is getting brought up to this level so we can expand that story.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a little indie title. You can pick it up for just like a few bucks on Steam, really. And it's critically acclaimed. It's gotten lots of praise and great reviews for its narrative. So if you decide you want to pick it up and play it, you will be getting a kind of companion piece to it from IDW. Cool. So
and historically, most video game comic book crossover things like, comic book continuations of video games, not good.
I read a lot of the Street Fighter comic series in the 90s. It was bad.
If you want to have a good time, go to the Sonic the Hedgehog comics. Just gonna throw out the fact I have like 3 issues of that somewhere.
Look how fast he's going on this still image.
Yeah, but no, like
look at him eat all those
even if I look
dogs.
at things like the Halo comics, they're good. They're just not as good.
Yeah,
right.
And then it's the same way. Like so many of these games I play and I read the comics, and go, meh. Do I need more of that?
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Hill did take center stage at San Diego Comic-Con. He was there for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I bet.
The first and probably most important to the history of this fucking podcast is that Joe Hill confirmed on stage at Comic-Con this week that Lock and Key, the series for Netflix, has wrapped its first 10-episode season.
You almost had an amazing segue into that because I did bring that up, knowing you could have gone directly into that. I know. But you didn't, and now I'm sad.
I botched the segue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Those of you who followed our podcast for a long time know that we have a very sordid history with the Lock and Key TV show. As long as we've been recording this podcast, they've been trying to make the fucking show. Mm-hmm. It had gotten to a point where we were just kind of abuse victims. We just assumed it was never going to happen, even though they kept saying that it was going to happen.
This is my thing with Sandman. This is my thing with fucking Dark Crystal. This is my shit with Lock and Key. Like, so many of these things I fucking hold dear. They're like dangling that carrot in front of me like, just wait a little bit longer. This studio's picking it up now. And I'm just kind of like, fuck you. I cannot believe. Yeah. I cannot believe until in my fucking eye sockets. And
until Joe Hill's physically injecting it into your eyes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Or, I click play at midnight on Netflix.
That sounds like a lot less fun. But I'm super excited about this. If you know nothing about Lock and Key, go.
Netflix is about to teach you the shit out of that.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'd say go down to the comic book store, grab those trades because they are so worth it. In fact,
fun.
Get them in hardback because they're gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But Joe Hill also went on to say that Nosferatu has been renewed for a second season.
Nice.
See, cool. I haven't finished it. I was expecting it to wrap up the entire book in one season.
I thought so too.
Like,
I don't know
how
if they
fast
did or
it
not.
was going. Like,
so of the 3 people on the panel, only one of us has finished the show.
Yeah.
The other 2 read the book.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like,
we have no help to anybody right now.
Nope. You guys. I mean, the
I'm
show's been out for a while.
I'm on like episode 6.
Yeah. Now Joe Hill did go on to say that tentatively it will be called Nosferatu 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It makes sense.
Awesome.
It makes sense.
Yeah. That's just a in-working title. No confirmation on that.
It's super not going to be called that.
Yeah. I don't know. I can have my hopes on it.
It'd be called Nosferatu 2.
Nosferatu 2.
I mean, that'll still fit on a license plate. I don't know how you're going to fit Electric Blue. You need like 3 cars.
No, it's just gonna be a picture of Zachary Quinto, but like as a vampire dude, but like in a tutu.
Nosferatu
tutu.
That would rule. Actually,
I think we all need Zachary Quinto in a tutu.
Every day of my life, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm just spitting great ideas out here, guys.
Okay, let's move on from there and get into. This was a really fun minor reveal that Archer was getting a season 11.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I thought they said they were done after season 10.
Right, we thought so too. But we've been getting these kind of one-off seasons, right? We got the space season going on now, and then we had like the Miami Vice season. But the big reveal of Archer getting renewed for season 11 is that it's finally going to answer the question, what happened to Archer after he fell into a coma like 3 seasons ago?
I was gonna
See, that's
say
the reason
that
why I
was at
said
least
why,
3 seasons
because
ago.
I've been like I jumped in because I never finished getting the Archer in the coma part, but I just jumped in immediately that season afterwards, where it starts with him in a coma and it's all fucking fever dreams.
Right.
And I've been watching those fever dreams now for 2 seasons, going, this is fucking stupid. It's just Archer having fucking fever dreams. I don't like this.
Right.
And I'm waiting for them to actually get to the fucking plot line again, and they never do.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna say, hey, we're gonna wrap it up, we're actually gonna bring you back to the Archer storyline where Lana's fucking dead and Archer has to actually finally fucking deal with that shit, Cool. I'm okay with that.
Right.
But the fact she's still alive in his fever dreams is annoying the shit out of me because she's super fucking dead. If I remember correctly, it's Woodhouse and her are both dead, right?
I would have to go back and watch it. It's been that long. Like
I stopped caring.
Because this character just still are back in the show all the fucking time. And you're like, cool. Well, just fucking stop it. I'm so annoyed with fucking Archer at this point.
Yeah.
The cat and the show just they both just got on that nerve of just
I had gotten so far into these like fever dream seasons that I was like, I'm partway into the space one. I'm like, I don't really know if I want to keep watching this or not. Like the thing that I loved the show for isn't doing it. And then they made this announcement saying like, look, we're going back. We're going to answer the questions. We're going to see what happens. It's going to pick back up. We're done.
See, the thing is, are they trying to pick it back up to where they were like, they want to reinvigorate the audience being like, Archer's back to being Archer? Or they're like, no, we're doing one season to wrap it up and let this fucking thing die.
The creators have always said they had a very limited timeline for Archer, that they didn't want it to go on forever.
Well, it seems like it's going on forever.
It really does feel
Maybe they should have done this season 3 seasons ago, is what I'm saying, and not had so much that filler bullshit that we've had for so long now.
To be fair, speaking of shows that should have possibly wrapped up a long time ago, there was a very interesting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel at Comic-Con.
That also should have wrapped up a long time ago.
In fact, it was supposed to. It was supposed to wrap up an episode in season 5, which is why the last episode of season 5 is called The End.
Okay.
They thought that they were done with the show.
I didn't even get that far, but okay.
Right. Then ABC said, hey, we would like to pick you up for a couple more seasons. And they went, oh, shit, what do we do?
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
And it got really good. It did, in fact, got better once it wasn't restricted to anything.
That's very true.
So I'm still enjoying it, but they did announce at Comic-Con this week that not the season that's ongoing right now, but the one that will be airing next summer, it is the final season of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I don't think this news really surprises anybody.
The biggest surprise of this news is that a Marvel TV show, including this and Netflix stuff, is actually reaching its logical conclusion instead of just being straight up told, no, we're not doing this anymore.
Part of the facts about this, and people are kind of getting wrong in the media, is they're saying that like ABC's canceling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's actually not a true statement. Marvel is not canceling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They're ending it.
Marvel approached them and said, we don't want, basically they didn't want a situation like the Netflix shows where they were in the middle of storylines and then the shows don't exist anymore. So while they still had the contract with ABC, Marvel stepped in and said, hey guys, so here's the deal. Your contract's only like through this next season or whatever. ABC. They're like, hey, your contract's only through this next season or whatever. We don't want this to go the route of the Netflix shows. Could you wrap it all up in a season? And they were like, yeah, we can wrap it all up in a season. We'd be happy to.
See, that's the one good thing about this again.
Disney owns ABC. Yeah, Marvel Studios is not Disney. They are two separate things, and so is ABC. It's its own
separate thing, but they're still all part of one giant thing.
So if Marvel came to ABC and was like, stop it, ABC would be like, fuck you, this makes us money. Disney coming in and saying, hey, everyone play nice is a whole other thing.
See, that's the thing, is Disney's coming in and saying, hey, we own Marvel, we own ABC, we own all this shit, we're making a cohesive fucking universe as we are the great overlords, and we are going to tell you this show is done on this because we're doing other things now.
I think I realized pretty quickly when I started the current season that they were just going to completely ignore everything else going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and at that point I was pretty sure the show is done.
Yeah.
Because the show was created to be the bridge in between movies, and
fucking Lady Sif shows up in the first season. Like it crosses over with Thor: The Dark World in the first season.
But I mean Samuel L. Jackson's in like the first episode, and it comes back at the end of season.
But don't forget that we don't have confirmation, but it was announced like 6 months ago that the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting his own show.
That on ABC.
I doubted it.
I mean, at this point, it's going to be on the Disney Plus streaming platform. Yeah. Because that's where everything else Marvel-related is going, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yep. So before we get to that, we do have one more just quick thing to talk about that I know that will make Hector's day. Doom Patrol was renewed for Season 2, and it's not just going to be on DC Universe. It's also going to be on HBO Max, which is going to be Warner's new streaming service.
We need to talk about... next week, we need to talk about what HBO Max is, because it's very fucking confusing.
Yes, we will.
But this is not the time for that, because that actual announcement was last week.
It is really
and
confusing.
We didn't cover it.
But yeah, no, I can't be more excited for more Doom Patrol. Go watch that show. Everyone watch that show.
It's really fun. I've been enjoying the hell out of it. I'm not quite finished again. It's like I was watching Nosferatu and that at the same time, and I got to a point where it was like too much, need break. So I've been watching YouTube episodes of Disney
takes care of all of the big non Marvel movie, TV show related things, even though S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of does technically fall into that spectrum. Marvel had a huge panel announcement. Huge. And we need to jump into that right now.
Okay. And yes, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is definitely on the spectrum.
Can't make those jokes happen.
Oh, man. I'm pretty sure the season's over.
Is S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Mm-hmm.
I
think they only got I think they only got like 8 or 9 episodes. Because this show was supposed to start a lot earlier, but they cut it off because of Infinity War.
Mm-hmm. We got the episode number
Endgame.
wrong. We're on 320, not 319.
I had it right in everything.
Oh, I thought one of the websites said it was 320.
No, I put it on 320 and everything.
I hope if I type 3 before
I know how numbers work.
Because the last two...
Hi, audience.
Yeah, 8. So the last 2 episodes were like a 2-parter, and it felt like the end of the season. Maybe it's not, but it really did feel like it.
So if you're new to our live recordings...
Oh, it was the 2019. That's where I was seeing the number.
For those of you new to us recording live, feel free to chime in at any point in the conversation. If it's something that's relevant to what we're talking about, we'll definitely mention your comments on
And if
there.
you make the comment, what are you talking about? Use your listening skills and figure it the fuck out, you fucking idiot.
Good job, Tony.
Yeah.
You're really gonna grow our audience. I appreciate that.
I'm not gonna fucking dumb myself down for people that are being like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Why are we doing that? And just and putting in fucking messages online. Guess what? I'm not fucking Google, bitch. Figure it out.
Brooklyn,
fucking figure it out.
What are you excited for, Brooklyn? Because we're gonna be going into Marvel stuff. I'm dying to know.
Yeah, what are you excited for?
What did I possibly miss?
Well, now we have to wait
we're
15 to 20 seconds for him to
Yeah, we're
hear
on a
us.
delay, so no,
We're awkwardly staring.
He might have gotten up and gone to pee, so like we're
yeah.
answering. That's why I'm not going to answer your stupid fucking
He's
questions in
probably
your chat.
playing
You're going to
some,
get up and go like, "What are you doing?" I'm going to go pee. No, I'm not going to fucking say what we're doing.
Yeah, if you have anything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be.
That's
We'll be
what
talking
we're
about
getting
that.
to.
Because, I mean, what if?
Yeah, sure. Definitely chime in. Like I said, we're gonna be talking about a lot of Marvel stuff. All right, let's do this. Can we just go? Just go.
We can go.
If we have to.
All right, adventurers, it's time for all the big Marvel news. So much here to talk about. Are you excited? I know that, I didn't expect this explosion to happen.
So the first thing that I saw before you get into the news was the big timeline they put up.
Right.
And I was just hyper confused by it. Mm-hmm. Because looking at it and not actually watching the panel, I didn't know if I was looking at all Disney TV content or all movie content. And I got that's wigged
true.
out by all of that.
That's true. It was very intimidating if you didn't understand what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we just kind of jump in? I'll start breaking things down one by one. First announcement that they made was the Eternals.
Yeah.
I mean, that was super not a secret.
Right. It wasn't a secret, but it was the...
We've been listing casting for that for
right, but it's not just
months now.
Not just that we have a date for it, which is November 6th of 2020, but it's also we have our cast, and this is a stacked cast, guys.
This is some Seraphin casting for sure.
This is
whenever they were announcing the
ridiculous.
casting of this, every time we go, yeah, awesome, cool.
Yeah, you've got Richard Madden, you have Kumail Nanjiani, you have Selma Hayek's in it. I mean, Angelina Jolie's in it. This is a ridiculously stacked cast.
Yeah.
And you know what, though? The Eternals is such
Not a
a
good story.
strange group to, try and tell a story about.
Neil Gaiman tried to do a fucking Eternal story, and it's enjoyable. It's still confusing as fucking makes no goddamn sense because it's the Eternals and they're dumb.
You are dealing with cosmic entities essentially.
That for some reason all forgetting are humans. It's
right.
We don't know anything about the story at this point,
No.
right? We don't know if it's based
aside
on a
from
specific run.
Yeah, no, we just know that
just
it's the
know what
Eternals, and we
characters
know
are
what
in
the
it.
Eternals' history is.
Right.
So there's a lot of really abstract concepts. Although to be fair, to Marvel's credit, I didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy would be a filmable movie.
I was just going to mention Guardians. I was going to mention Doctor Strange. When the first person said, "Let's make a movie about Doctor Strange," the people in the room probably went like, "What?" No.
I mean, look at Ragnarok.
The weird wizard.
The art style alone in Ragnarok, you go, why would you ever do that?
Yeah.
That's not the way those comics were drawn.
True.
People are going to look at the
Very
tree
weirdly.
and the raccoon, and they're just going to be like, no, this is dumb, go home.
Sure, and now
Well,
we have
this
our
is-
introduction to the cosmic world.
True.
And so now that we've got our foothold in it with things like Guardians, with things like Thor Ragnarok, maybe doing something like an Eternals isn't so far out there. But the Eternals was written like in this at the same time that like Doctor Strange was originally being written.
Right, so you're talking LSD.
When you're talking, there was
Yes.
a lot of LSD involved in creating this.
Yep.
And so
It's getting really high and writing down some fucked up ideas, and the next day actually writing them. Like,
yeah.
that's where the Eternals came from, and they make no sense. They are literally a trip of a character.
Or as Grant
Pantheon.
Morrison would call it, Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's
But
just
without-
another Grant Morrison comic, guys. Sign me up and pump it into my veins.
So yeah, I'm excited for the Eternals. I just don't know what my expectations are because I have, as somebody who's a lifelong Marvel reader, if you told me to try to explain the Eternals to you, I'd be like, I don't know where to start. Like that's not. And I'm a man who I love the cosmic books, but for whatever reason, the Eternals is just that one that I'm like, I got nothing.
This
man.
is the
Like,
one that I am the most afraid of. Like, for just straight up bombing.
You're worried about an actual bomb?
Yeah, no, like based on the cast alone is you said it, y'all talked about it. It was it's this stacked cast. That cast is on paper amazing. Those are all amazing actors. But the Eternals is also some of the most nonsensical, worst characters of all of Marvel, and I am worried that this movie is going to bomb, like lose $200 million bomb.
I think that I have not yet, since 2008, seen a world where Marvel can't write a story that's incredibly accessible for basically anyone.
It's true.
Have you read the Eternals?
No, but I've seen all of the Marvel movies multiple times.
See, the thing is, I've seen
I'm
those
talking
movies,
about
and I get that.
MCU. I'm not talking about the writing of the Eternals. The writing of the Eternals doesn't matter.
Well, see, no,
just like the
the-
writing of Guardians of the Galaxy didn't matter. They were going to
True.
make the movie. They were going to
And
make
I
regardless.
totally get your point that the movies themselves are very accessible, but having read some of the Eternals, you go, that's not accessible. This does not make any sense on any page ever, and you want to make a movie out of it. Cool. Bad idea.
And now there might be a run.
Maybe
that I'm
that's
not
why this
familiar
cast
with.
is so fucking stacked, because they know they're making a shit movie and they're just expecting everybody
I
to
don't
love
think
these
Marvel-
these
That doesn't
people.
seem like a Marvel. That doesn't seem like a Kevin Feige move at all.
No.
They don't. They've never once rested on their actors.
I'm not hoping, not cursing it, but I'm expecting it that this is there's a good chance this is the first bomb that Marvel makes.
Okay, that's Tony's prediction. I'm predicting to be pleasantly surprised by it.
I'll find. It comes out on my birthday. I'm going to turn 35 in the movie theater while watching this, so
Sweet.
that's fine.
Pants down, go to town, and watch the Eternals.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
You generally have to have your pants on in most movie theaters.
I don't know what theaters you're going to.
You got to pay for that
Even
VIP
the adult
booth.
ones, you have to have your pants on.
You got to pay for the VIP booth at the top of the Ritz downtown. And there's only 2 seats, so you bring someone with you who's okay with a no pantsing, and bam, no pants movies.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so not everything that we're going to be talking about here is going to be a movie because there's a lot of the Disney Plus stuff that was stacked into this presentation.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not familiar with it, Disney Plus is going to be the new Disney streaming service that's going to be housing unique Marvel content. This was a service
And also
that...
all of Disney's cartoons and Marvel movies,
Right.
Going
And
forward.
Star Wars.
And
And
Star
all Star
Wars.
Wars.
Star
There's so
Wars.
much IP in that service.
Yeah. I mean, Hector and I, outside of the show, we do lunch on Wednesday when we go to the comic book shop, and we often talk about what it would take for the Disney Plus service to succeed. Not just survive and scrape by, but what it would take to succeed. And I honestly think we got our answer this week.
These shows are it.
Right. So the first one that was announced was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So limited series. It's exactly what's in the title.
I'm assuming this is based on the whole Black Widow like thing, because I remember there was that. I haven't read it, but there is a comic where Falcon and the Winter Soldier like
Hang out for a while.
go find Wanda and like rescue her from something or something.
It's entirely possible. I'm not
It's
sure
gonna
which
be
one.
really
this
hard to
is,
do
right?
that, seeing how she's dead.
Yeah, lots of people die in comics all the time.
Yep.
They generally
Literally
die
all the
really
time.
good in the movies, though.
Yeah.
All the
So
time.
Even though we are getting a Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
Which
That is
takes
true.
place in the past. Because she's dead.
We don't know when this show is.
They already said that the movie takes place in the past.
so
No, we don't know when the show is.
So my
Oh.
my prediction for this particular show, and this is going to be airing in the fall of 2020, is that So we do know that Baron Zemo is going to be coming back.
Okay.
So from Civil War.
So post Civil War, obviously. So that's giving us some timeline, Hector.
Now the banner artwork that we're seeing,
Civil War.
the banner artwork we're seeing for Falcon and the Winter Soldier does show Captain America's shield. However, I don't think that the Falcon will be taking up the mantle of Captain America in this show.
Right.
I think that this story, in my opinion, is going to be a story of maybe Falcon not feeling that he's ready, that the shield is a burden right now, and he doesn't know how to.
It's just like it's a lot. The responsibility of becoming Captain America is a lot.
This story could be a character arc that leads us into a Captain America / Falcon movie.
That'd be pretty sweet.
This would be his growing into that role, and basically having Bucky there, who knew Steve Rogers all those years.
He knew him before he was Captain America. At the rise of Captain America, and then at the re-rise again, Captain America.
Yeah, he was there when Captain America rises a lot.
And see, they could do this correctly.
Boner
This is my
Bros.
biggest worry when it comes to all this Disney Plus content coming out of the MCU with the same actors and everything. My number one worry is oversaturation, and people just get fucking sick of it. You max out, you overexpose, etc., you become Katherine Heigl. So if they could do what you're suggesting and really make these shows a singular set of episodes that is a bridge to a movie, to where if you watch the movie and like it, you can come back and see something you like, or if you were leading up to it the whole time, you get a really good payoff, then that's great. Because on the other end of the spectrum, it's just 5 different running TV series that are already agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and nobody wants that.
And to make it matters more confusing, the timeline of the Marvel Universe, because in certain cases, like I'm guessing the next show we're about to talk about is WandaVision.
We can skip to that.
We can just go ahead and skip to it?
Yeah, sure.
In which case, we're going to talk about a show where one of the characters is fucking dead. Like how do we justify, how can we clarify this creation of this story and put it on TV and go, well, we're putting in a character that you all watched die last year.
So you keep bringing this up. Tony, trust me, they're not going to forget someone died. They'll write around it.
I hate to break this.
I'm talking about the oversaturation and the overcomplication of something to where the market just goes, I'm fucking bored of that because you're now being confusing and arbitrary.
It could be the case.
I could see why that could be an issue for you. But it is important to note that the WandaVision TV show that's coming to Disney Plus is going to directly lead into Doctor Strange 2.
Nice.
Yeah. That was the problem with me bringing that one up, because immediately you have to talk about Doctor Strange because they announced that that show will lead into that movie, but because we don't know what's going to happen with Falcon and Winter Soldier, we don't know how that's going to lead into a Captain America movie. Aside from
that was my theory. That is not a confirmed thing. That was
they haven't come out and said that the Falcon's becoming Captain America, but they told us that the Falcon's becoming Captain America.
Right.
Yeah.
But
we know that's happening.
But the idea when you call a show like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, in my opinion, that means it is very firmly Sam Mackie as the Falcon.
Yes.
Him not taking up the mantle of Captain America yet.
Correct.
Honestly, like for that show, I really see it's going to be a show about the Falcon, about him proving to himself with the help of Winter Soldier that he is worthy of taking up the shield. And the last shot of the show is him actually literally picking up Captain America's shield and flying away.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that after Endgame, there was a lot of back and forth about who was supposed to be Captain America and whether or not they did
Much
that
like there's
correctly.
anytime Captain America decides to retire.
Exactly. So we may have a whole show where there's the endless debate of like, should it have been Bucky or should it have been the Falcon, and they'll keep going back and forth.
Yeah, but we just touched on WandaVision, which is going to be a story of Scarlet Witch. It's going to be about Vision. We know that it leads into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is the sequel. By the way,
that one just, out of everything that they announced, can that one just be here now? Like, I need that now.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I read that we're looking at what may not obviously entirely, but tonally be a horror film.
Yes, they're saying that if the name doesn't give it away, Doctor
We're
Strange
not already
2,
dealing with In the Mountains of Madness
Right.
and Cthulhu and H.P. Lovecraft shit, especially with alternate beings that exist outside of our reality that Doctor Strange puts his thumb up.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of makes sense that this is going to be a horror thing. I need this.
You know why I'm excited?
Why can't this one come out in November? Seriously.
Why I'm excited for this is because I'm still really angry at the fact that the New Mutants horror movie isn't happening, or at least we don't know what the fuck's happening with it.
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't get.
Why can't they just like give that to Netflix as like their goodbye?
Yeah.
Like you get the New Mutants movie, we're not releasing in theaters. Netflix gets New Mutants, and from here on, we're doing other things.
They should just shadow release it like they did The Dictator. Just drop it onto the internet and be like, "Fine, here."
Yeah, just absolutely. Let's see here. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, what? Are they talking about the Mandarin?
Yeah,
But like
this is
the Mandarin.
The Mandarin.
And this is a movie, not a Disney TV show.
This is a movie.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's going to be a martial arts straight up movie with the Mandarin.
Not starring Ben Kingsley.
Right, but also
The actual Mandarin from this comics, not Ben Kingsley's version from Iron Man.
The Mandarin is a villain, no?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. I mean, always was when I was watching the Iron Man cartoon.
Yeah, and he will be a villain in this.
Nice.
And the logo, by the way, if anybody was curious about it, that logo that's being used for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has been in the Marvel Universe as far back as Iron Man 3. That particular logo is seen in Iron Man 3.
Okay.
So that is the Mandarin symbol that they are carrying into this.
Yeah,
That's because that's what the Mandarin was in 3, wasn't it? Wasn't it 3 or 2? Was it 2 or 3?
No, it was 3, and
Yeah.
the Mandarin turned out to be the white
Ben
guy.
Kingsley.
Right.
Yeah, it was Ben
And
Kingsley.
then with
He's an amazing actor in his own right, but still,
Well,
he's not.
not Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley was the foil, and then at the end of the movie, the dude breathing fire yells, "I'm the Mandarin," and it's like, no, you're not.
Except he's
no,
not
you're
the
fucking
Mandarin.
Yeah, but he's not the Mandarin either. The Mandarin's he's part of something else entirely.
right. And
that
so
he was a member of the organization.
There was a short film that Marvel put out sometime after Iron Man 3 that basically, said there is a real Mandarin out there and he's looking for blood. And now we are finally getting that. This guy, this elusive character that's been hinted at, been made fun of, that's probably not very happy with many people.
Yeah.
And we're getting what is arguably a D-list Marvel character. But you know what? At this point, Marvel does well with those.
Dude.
Yeah, they've been doing well with him for a while.
Right. Like,
we as much shit as we gave it, fucking the Iron Fist, D-list character. I enjoyed the shit out of that TV show.
Right.
I like the second season.
So maybe we can find a way to also include that Iron Fist into this, mostly because I just want more Iron Fist, and it's like the one movie that has the chance of him showing up in.
Right. Like, I'm excited.
Like, if you just walk in the back room and be like, "Hey guys,"
and this is really when people say, "Well, when are superhero movies going to die?" The question they're asking the wrong question, because Marvel isn't making superhero.
Yeah,
movies.
when are superhero comic books gonna die?
Right, but the thing is that Marvel's not making superhero movies.
Exactly.
They're making movies with superheroes, but
they're
all
making
of their
genre films that happen to include superheroes as their main
exactly.
characters.
So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is going to have superheroes in it, but it's a
Right.
martial arts film.
Hell yeah.
Civil War was like straight up like a spy, or Winter Soldier was like a spy movie.
Yeah.
Like every one of these movies has its own set genre, and so I'm excited for Marvel to just go full out. By the way, guys, predictions right now: Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. How many hallway fight scenes will we see?
At least one per fight. There will be a hallway per fight, and then they'll fight somewhere else after the hallway leads somewhere.
I'm just excited for this one because we get to explore something that is outside of the norm for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even on television at this point.
Yeah.
Like the closest we had was the Netflix series for the level of with these characters, and you figured that that's in the Netflix series we would have eventually gotten the Mandarin. Like they would have led to that plot line with Elektra and everything, and eventually it deals with Mandarin bullshit. And you're like, okay, I could see where that's going. I expected it, but then since those shows got canceled, that we're fact we're getting this is like kind of my redemption for Netflix stuff, I guess, because that's where I figured the story line was going to anyway.
Well,
even if this is tonally so very different, which I'm
Yeah.
expecting to be very different, but I still feel like I get my little bit of Netflix redemption by having this continue.
And I've been waiting for the Mandarin ever since he was just hinted at in Iron Man 3. Like, he was always a cool character. I also watched the Iron Man cartoon growing up.
Yeah.
I used to collect Marvel cards, and in Series 2 of the Marvel cards, they used to have a series about weapons.
Okay.
And when there was one of the cards that was just dedicated to, like, the Mandarin's rings and what they do. And it's cool because now the Mandarin feels a little bit more like he can come in, whereas he couldn't before. If you think about the history of the Marvel movies, by the time Iron Man 3 was around, we still didn't really have magic as a full-blown thing in the Marvel universe.
Totally was.
It wasn't until Doctor Strange that really was a reality. So maybe the Mandarin and his rings would have felt off at that point. Now that we've got Doctor Strange in the equation, we're like, fuck it, bring on the fucking magic rings. Let's do it. Like
no kidding.
Fing Fang Foom, giant dragon. Let's just put him in there too. Let's just go all the way.
I am still waiting until Fing Fang Foom actually shows up.
I'm not sure we can call him that anymore.
That's the
That's
character's name.
No,
It's
I know.
Still
but
to this day,
there's
that's
a
the
lot
character's
of
name.
You know how many like old African American characters have names you're just not allowed to call people anymore?
Well,
nobody's been upset with this dragon's name for a very
No
long
one's been
time.
upset about this dragon's name. The dragon has been named this for since the 60s, I believe.
Yeah,
It
probably.
seems like something a white person would say when they were trying to ape the language that someone near
entirely
them was
possible.
speaking. It really does.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Don't make
also
this weird.
MODOK. Like, I need a Fing Fang Foom MODOK crossover buddy comedy.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah, like I want.
You just want the agents of
We
hate.
need
I
our
want Next Wave Agents of Hate to be a thing.
Well-
Why they didn't announce Next Wave's Agents of Hate as its own standalone series makes me fucking angry because I will literally never in my lifetime get that comic book made into anything.
I don't know.
as
they're-
good
they're
as the
working up
casting
to it.
is, we still don't have our MODOK, man.
We do.
I don't think
do.
CGI is going to give us our MODOK.
Well, we have the animated one that's coming up.
Well, right,
Yeah.
but no, we don't have our actor, our MODOK.
Who would be MODOK?
Oh, okay, I don't know. Patton Oswalt's doing the voice acting. I figured they just mocap
Patton
him.
Oswalt?
He's a voice
yeah.
actor.
I
can see it.
cannot. I'll never find Patton Oswalt menacing in my entire life.
MODOK's
I just
not
won't.
menacing.
MODOK's not menacing. Like, Fing Fang Foom is only menacing because he's a giant fucking dragon.
Right.
Other than that, he's super, like, not menacing whatsoever. So these characters, because they're supposed to be these menacing creatures, you go, oh, no, you're not. You're dumb. Nobody, stop your bad plotting. You're just not going to go anywhere. That's why I want them to do, like, a buddy action, like, cop action show, but them being the villains. And everybody else just, like, constantly stopping them the moment they even, like, think of a plan.
I hope they're doing like really pedestrian buddy cop shit, like
Yeah.
like starting a drug ring or something.
There's a giant dragon, this floating head thing. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. We're gonna sell pot to kids. And like, it's
Get out-
legal here.
You get out on them corners and you hustle. We can't sell pot on the corner. There's a store behind us that sells.
I just love
it.
the fact that I'm just picturing like your redneck ass voice in like Fing Fang Foom's mouth.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like some like brooding like ancient like Chinese man
Doesn't sound like
voice
Benedict
anymore.
Cumberbatch at all.
Now it's just like. Okay, so it was
Kids
also.
gonna go do some drugs, and I'm gonna watch it.
I was-
They should hire me to be Fing Fang Foom. I'll
They
do a
should.
fucking great job.
You would do an excellent job. You've already got the beard for it. Loki's getting his own series on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's going to be
It is
interesting.
known.
So
The interesting part is what they said. They're actually discussed a little bit of what timeline.
Speaking of dead characters.
Speaking of dead characters, of what time this character actually does portray. Like, why is he getting his own show? Because he dead.
Right.
Like, and they're like, oh, because it takes place in 1992. You're like,
Neat.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
so it actually starts at around 2012.
Okay.
So it starts.
Okay, no, I was thinking of the other one. So his is 2012.
This is 2012. This is the. Remember when like Loki just like slipped off, and you were like,
And he had the fucking
the space
he had
stone.
the space stone and he was like, I'm gonna go over here for like hours. No one pay attention to me.
yeah. And this is going to be that story. It's going to be when you came out of Endgame and said, I wonder where Loki went. This is that
So
story.
this is just a very elaborate television show just to explain that he was the rat in fucking Endgame.
Yeah.
In Endgame with Ant-Man's fucking car.
He's got to be the rat. Like that's the only workable theory.
It's the only theory that makes sense. It can't just be the chaos theory that a rat punched this fucking button, releasing him from fucking the quantum realm.
Like the perfect button.
Like that's too much fucking the God machine. You can't fucking have that shit.
Let's see here. All right, so very exciting. What if the Marvel Elseworld series is getting adapted as an animated series for Disney Plus?
So this is I'm not familiar with the books.
Right, so
is
what-
it like like an anthology series?
It's
So-
generally one-off issues.
One-off issues.
Okay.
It'll tend
Sometimes longer issues, but generally just a one-off issue.
it'll tend to run for like 12 issues at a time, and then it'll stop being
But
printed
is
for a while.
each issue
its own standalone
Own
story.
Okay, so yeah, that's
So
what I
they'll be
meant.
like, hey, we're gonna do some what ifs, and we're gonna like 6 of them. One what if's gonna be what if Spider-Man had a bowl cut. One's gonna
Right.
be what if Spider-Ham, was a cat or something.
Yeah, and a lot of-
whatever random ass
Right.
idea you can come up with.
Okay.
So remember last week on the show, I was telling you about this new DC series they're going to be doing, this Elseworlds DC series, where like it's an alternate take on what would happen during Superman's death if like, Lois Lane went on a rampage afterwards. That's basically what the What If comics have been since the 70s.
Gotcha.
So like it'll be something like, what if the Phoenix was never resurrected? What if Spider-Man's parents were never killed? Like they go
some
through
of them are very serious, and some of them are very silly.
So
I have a What If that is literally about Spider-Ham. I can't remember what the
I'm
plot
already
line was.
calling the last one. What if X-Men?
What if X-Men?
What if they were mutants?
No, just what if X-Men, and the X-Men are all there, and they were there the whole time. You get like flashbacks, and they just shove X-Men into the frame of like older movies, and it's like we're gonna keep up with.
You know what's really sad?
We saved ourselves a lot.
Where
of
was
room.
Deadpool during Endgame?
So the current run of X-Men, which is about to come to an end before they kind of reset everything, is ending with basically the world waking up and remembering there's mutants.
Nice.
Because there just weren't for a long time.
Mutants.
And so like so what if X-Men is actually the story?
Y'all remember that entire group of people that the world hated, like pitchforks burned alive hated, and we all just forgot about?
Yep.
Yeah, let's go back to killing them.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they were all
racism.
They were all taking off. Most of them were taken off of the Earth. There was basically the leftovers, and nobody remembered them. They're like, "Why don't you guys remember mutants?" And question mark. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we blocked that out of people's heads."
Isn't it better for the mutants to not be remembered? I mean, like you think that like
you just go back into hiding.
Yeah, like I mean, I get that like what they're representing. You don't want them to be in hiding. You want them to be themselves and be out there and shit.
Yeah.
But also, that's when they get murdered because all the storylines are about them being murdered. Like really, every X-Men story really kind of boils down to we don't like the way you look. We're killing you. I mean, every single story, aside from like the Phoenix, and that's
you've only
an
read
arbitrary
like five.
timelining
You've
thing.
only read like 5 X-Men comics.
Yeah, but that's all of them. That's all of
I've
them.
read a lot more, and there's a lot more stories.
X-Men's been going on for a long time.
If I've read 5
it was
and all
kind
5
of a
of
monster
that,
of the week thing there for a while.
If I read 5 and all 5 are around the same fucking thing, I'm 5 for 5. That's 100% correct for me. All right, that's fucking quick maths.
So yeah, What If Comics is going to be getting an animated show on Disney Plus. This is going to be super exciting.
Wait, it's animated.
It's animated. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you can do all kinds of crazy shit with
Awesome.
it.
Yeah, they
for
don't
a
have
way
to-
lower budget.
Yeah, budget notwithstanding.
They're not beholden to anything at that
But
point.
the cool thing is, like, basically every actor from the movies is coming back to voice their character.
It's a weekend.
Yeah, I was
gig
gonna
for
say
them.
that's rad.
Yeah.
Like, come in, say like 20 lines, and you're done.
I'm excited for this one because growing up, Hawkeye was one of my favorite characters. As much shit as I got for that. Jeremy,
Because he's still worthless.
because on Disney Plus, Jeremy Renner is going to be getting his own Hawkeye series. What's really cool about this is they're using the Matt Fraction logo.
Right.
So my fingers are crossed they're going to
So it's not about him, right?
I'm hoping it's going to dive into the Matt Fraction material.
Yeah.
Especially because they announced that Kate Bishop, who is also
Yeah.
called Hawkeye, is going to be in this show.
See,
Right.
see, that's the thing. So by using the logo from the Matt Fraction run and explaining that she's going to be a character in this show, you immediately go, "Cool, we're just doing the Matt Fraction run."
I hope
and
so.
everybody goes, "Yeah, we're fine with that.
Yeah,
just do that. Just literally just make those comics."
I want an episode just about Pizza Dog. Please.
and I expect them to do that.
I hope so. And Matt Fraction's run's really interesting, and I don't know if they're going to be going from that source material. I still need to finish the run, but from what I understand, towards the end of Matt Fraction's run is when Hawkeye starts to go deaf, and so he uses a lot of sign language in it. And it's just from the years of like the hardship he's put on his body, and so there's a lot that you've got the book.
Yeah, I do.
But
It's my next read.
apparently, towards the end of it, there was parts of it where
I mean, spoilers for Hector's next read.
Exactly.
Hawkeye goes deaf.
But I would love to see that because there's a lot of people that have read this comic that are deaf and said it was so cool to see a character who's kind of a badass, like kind of start to represent us on the page. Because, we talk about representation about a lot of things, but, having a deaf character doesn't happen that often.
That's be really annoying that like you're going deaf so you can't hear somebody while you're trying to shoot a bow and arrow, and you can see them talking, and you're going like, I'm working here and I can't like sign to you. I was like, could you fucking not? Like I'm doing a thing.
That's his superpower, Tony. He finally
he has he has no superpowers.
His
Fucking
superpower
Hawkeye
is he can
useless.
say "fuck you" with just his eyes. Because if you're talking to him and he's trying to aim and has both hands, he's
So
like,
secretly, actually, that is not it's not a Hawkeye superpower. That's Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
he has the
true.
ability with his eyes, his acting talent, to just say "fuck you" with just his eyes.
Yeah.
He's a damn good actor.
It's true. And some people get turned on by that.
Some people get turned on by ants. I mean,
Wow, he just like extreme today. He's
yeah,
extreme today.
they got weird.
Speaking of extreme, let's talk about Thor.
Yeah,
So,
We're getting another Thor movie.
We're getting another Thor movie.
I am very excited.
Chris Hemsworth is definitely going to be coming back for it.
Oh, yeah.
Tessa Thompson going to be coming back for it. Taika Waititi coming back as director.
And writing.
And
writing and directing.
Writing and directing. Natalie Portman coming back.
See, that's the one that I was actually very surprised because I figured that she was
very
done with Marvel. She was like, I'm not doing giant corporate movies.
Well, I don't think it was that. I don't think she's ever had a problem doing giant corporate movies. I think, she had I remember her having issues with working with a few people on the Dark World.
Yeah.
But if it were me, I would also, being the actor that she is and the kind of prestige that she commands, being the damsel in distress so many times would probably really
She's already done it twice.
Too.
And if she was in 3, it'd have been like, cool, now he's got to save her and the Hulk and all this other shit. Right. It's not fucking fun for anybody.
Right. So her being able to come back the way she is...
Yeah, because she's going to be coming back as the Goddess of Thunder.
That's right.
And so that's going to be a big thing because this is a storyline that's very divisive for nerds.
Well...
Hear me draw that out some more. God, it's a good run, guys. Seriously, you're missing out if you're like, oh, female Thor.
Yeah, no, when you said nerds, it's the exact wrong word. It's very divisive for assholes. It's divisive for assholes.
That's true. You know what? It is divisive for assholes. If you're an asshole, you're probably going to hate it.
You don't like the idea.
I mean, I'm an asshole, but I like it. Yeah. So, like, it's not just an asshole thing.
It's true.
I mean,
I think it's a piece of shit thing. If you're a piece of shit, you're upset about this. And if you're not a piece of shit, you're one of us who just doesn't give a fuck.
I think the thing about assholes in general, as a spectrum of assholes,
welcome to the show that we're going to be discussing a spectrum of assholes.
Honestly, I'm changing the fucking show title of that.
Assholes, as you go across the spectrum, come in many flavors.
They do, and
one of the flavors of asshole is due to hate the Goddess of Thunder.
Yep. And I'm here for it, though.
Oh,
Natalie
God,
Portman,
I'm so here for it.
Being a Goddess of Thunder in Thor, Taika Waititi directing, everything about this movie is
amazing.
Just going to be so good.
out of all of the when I saw the Hawkeyes Matt Fraction like font up there, but then I saw like right next to it is Thor like Love and Thunder, but done in that like super 80s ridiculous lettering. It's like, fuck, that looks so good.
It's not exactly like it, but it super reminds me of the Thundercats logo.
A little bit. Yeah. It has a little bit. It's that 80s tacular like ridiculous metal fucking like text. It brings back these childhood memories I just need.
It's font by Rob Liefeld. It's just like the harshest angles you can find with all the letters, and it's in bright red.
Like I loved it, and the problem is like it's the furthest one out, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes, you're looking at.
This was just a early confirmation.
You're looking at like November 2021 on that one.
Yeah,
I'd say 2022 or 3.
Find out.
November 5th, 2021.
Yeah,
really, 2021.
It's only one phase. Remember, it's only phase 4. Phases usually last about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and we do know that we're on May 1st, 2020. We're going to be getting the Black Widow movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, also a period piece because she's dead.
Yeah,
he's
really hung up on this. People are dead.
Have you ever
read a comic book? Tony?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm on this because I'm literally spoiling Endgame without saying Endgame spoilers every single time I'm saying who's dead. I'm literally explaining the end of Endgame for people.
So I hate to break this to you, Tony, but as of this week, Endgame just surpassed Avatar as the number one.
Everybody
has seen it, Tony.
Hey!
Everyone saw it in theaters.
We had a rule on the show that we're not allowed to say spoilers about Endgame, and I just said fuck it. I'm saying everybody's
until
dead.
A month after Endgame, where we did an entire episode.
But we never mentioned of who fucking stayed alive in it.
I'm pretty sure we talked about all the dead people.
I don't think we did. Either way, everybody's dead.
So David Harbour is going to be in Black Widow movie.
Yeah, I'm into
it. He's getting some like serious cred right now.
We didn't get a prelude, but I did watch Hellboy this last weekend.
I did too.
And
I really actually enjoyed Hellboy. I liked it.
You know me, I will give a movie the benefit of the doubt here and back.
Right.
This movie felt so aggressively bad, it felt like they were doing it on purpose. Ooh. And the actors were good, they did a good job, the CGI was great.
Ian McShane is fucking brilliant in that movie.
Everyone was doing a great job.
The CGI looks fucking great.
Except the script. The script stepped on its own dick constantly, just making itself worse and worse and worse, to the point where someone would quip in such a way that I went, come on! Like out loud in my living room by myself. That's not a thing you want from a movie.
I didn't have that same reaction. I liked Hellboy. I thought it was fun. It's not Guillermo del Toro's work. It's obviously This is a post-Marvel movies trying to make an adaptation for something else.
It's cynical to a level where it feels like the Emoji Movie. The way that Hellboy makes jokes makes him feel like discount Tony Stark. Like the amount of quipping Tony Stark does with like half the writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
I could kind of see that.
ugly
yeah.
and obvious, and it grated on
But,
me.
but honestly,
entire
if you're
movie.
really looking at the character of Hellboy, discount Tony Stark, who just kind of sits in the back and it says bad one-liners, is kind of his thing.
It is kind of his thing, actually.
It's kind of
okay. Let's get
you're
back
kind of
to
just describing Hellboy.
We have a couple more quick things
was
we need
gross.
to knock out for this Marvel stuff so we can wrap up the episode. Probably one of the biggest and weirdest announcements from San Diego Comic-Con from Marvel was that we're getting a new Blade movie.
yeah.
yeah.
And not just like any random
That's-
actor. Like Mayor Shah Ali is going to be coming and playing Blade. If you are unfamiliar with him by name, if you watch
Where
Luke
have you
Cage,
been?
if you've watched Luke Cage, he was Cottonmouth.
Yeah.
He is an award-winning actor.
Yeah, he's an Oscar-winning
Yeah,
actor.
like an Oscar-winning actor coming and playing Blade. What the actual fuck?
Yeah, and from what I understand, and this is from what I understand, as far as I know, this is a rumor. But what I heard was that he called Kevin Feige and said, "I want to be Blade."
Like, if y'all are doing a Blade movie, I want to be it.
And Kevin
Like, that's-
Feige was like, "I guess we'll make a Blade movie because that sounds awesome."
It's generally, you don't generally get a lot of like Oscar-winning actors to call you and be like, "Hey, I really want to be this comic book character."
Right.
I mean, you get your Harris Bird, you get fucking your Nicolas Cage constantly coming and be like, "I want to be your comic book character," because that's
Right.
just who he is as a person.
Well, he
Right.
wanted to be Ghost Rider since he was like 12.
Yeah.
So,
he
you
also
know,
really wanted to be Superman since he was apparently a pre-infant.
Yeah, everyone
so
wants to be Superman.
no one wants to be Superman. No one wants to be Superman.
Tony just doesn't like Superman
Tony,
because
yeah.
he doesn't have hair.
I don't like Super. I just don't like Superman.
Is that why Lex Luthor's always right to
Exactly,
him?
because
Because Lex Luthor's bald.
it's a bald bros club. It's like Eskimo brothers, but they're just bald. Okay, so we are getting a Blade movie. This would have been probably the horror announcement if it wasn't for Doctor Strange.
Yeah, well, that and I believe it's Phase 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not
This is
anywhere
the
on
one
the
that it's
horizon.
not even. It doesn't have any date listed
Yeah,
whatsoever.
so
It's just
our
in
last-
the
We
future
have a
we're getting
name
Blade.
of an actor and we have a name of a movie.
Right.
That's it.
So and we have
And
a couple.
we're pretty sure he's like half a vampire.
Yeah.
And we have a couple more things, and these are all kind of quick announcements because there's not a whole lot of information tied to them. We have Captain Marvel 2 is going to be happening, Black Panther 2,
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3. These were just so you guys know, it's a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
We're just not far enough
That's the
along
thing
to
is
talk
like
about it.
I can't
those
believe
are-
none of that's happening in Phase 4.
I'm
That's
surprised.
Very
I
surprised.
I was expecting Black Panther 2 to be in there just because they made
Yeah.
a fuckload of money and you think they would want to hop on that train again.
If you look at the
But
list
I guess
here,
they're giving it
there's
more
actually-
time.
If you look at the list that we've talked about here, there's very few actual sequels peppered in here.
That's very true. And not only that, but I think that Black Panther 2 definitely got shanghaied, not in a bad way, but Black Panther filmed at the exact same time as Infinity War,
Yeah.
which we know filmed at the exact same time as Endgame. You had actors from these movies like slowly on standby in their costumes for months at a time.
Yeah,
so
so
they didn't
they're
really
basically all in the same location.
Right.
You're like, yeah, just go over to this set and say your lines and come back over
they
here.
didn't get a chance to like wrap the movie, take a break, and then start on the next one. That's been a while since they've been able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually probably in the benefit for maybe Black
think
Panther
so,
2,
too.
that giving it that time, that breathing.
Giving
Mostly,
Coogler the chance to really write something interesting.
yeah, also for me, it's giving the costume design a little bit more time to make more insanely amazing costumes.
right?
Because holy fuck, those dresses were amazing.
Yeah.
Like they
Everything-
have them like
real.
in a museum that I want to go see because like the intricate fucking work on them. I was like, God, these things are fucking gorgeous for a comic book movie.
Yeah.
For
And
any
how-
movie,
and how like
honestly.
every little bit of their costume had some kind of like history about it. Like the costume designer for that. Just,
Oh, yeah.
there's a reason it won awards. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, it's not surprising that down the road we'll be getting Captain Marvel 2 or Black Panther 2 and Guardians 3. At the very end, Kevin Feige kind of just casually said the words Fantastic Four. He was like, you know, by the way, also Fantastic
we
Four.
remember this exists.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he made a mention of the word mutants, but it was kind of the last. There's a thing they're called mutants. We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
Those last two really were a. They're,
You'll get more information on these in about 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
It's in the pipeline. We know that Fantastic Four is coming first. We know
Yeah.
before we get the X-Men, Fantastic Four are a priority for Marvel. It makes sense. They're Marvel's first family. There's a lot of history there.
I mean, think about it. You can do two Fantastic Four movies, and having them in multiple other movies, and then do individual movies on top of that, and crossover films between those characters, having the Fantastic Four is a huge branching out opportunity. Unfortunately, I feel that's the death, that's the super saturation once you start doing that. Once they go down that road, I just feel like we've gone too far.
I love that they're not, now that, they have Fox and all that. I'm glad that they're not really like trying to stamp out these movies they've been waiting on for so long. I'm glad that Phase 4 and 5 have no mention of a Fantastic Four movie or an X-Men movie. I'm glad that we're just gradually getting there. This Phase 4 actually
where we didn't get like
me...
by the way, we're doing fucking Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's what our next story is. And you're like, cool. Yeah. Maybe we never do that again.
Yeah, for real. Like, yeah, if you're going to tell the Phoenix story again, make it like 2035, please.
Right.
I want to be dead before that comes out.
Phase 4 actually reminds me the most, I just had this thought, of Phase 1. It seems like there's a lot of new material going in that is going to open up something bigger than we have. Which is weird to say because of how epic this just was. But I feel like these movies that we've mentioned, Shang-Chi and the Black Widow and stuff like that, which I really wouldn't rule out sequels for depending on how well it does.
Also, don't forget Kate Bishop showing up in Hawkeye.
Yeah, exactly. So we get these smaller stories that are going to build to something bigger down the line, and I'm super here for that.
Yeah. And we have our big bombastic ones in there. Doctor Strange is obviously going to be like it's going to cost $1 billion to make. It's going to make $5 billion back. Like it's going to be ridiculous. Shang-Chi doesn't need that.
No.
Shang-Chi doesn't have to be that big and bombastic.
It's our Iron Man. It's I guess we kind of remember this. I mean, I'm in. Let's look at it.
Yeah. And I mean, if a lot of these minor titles, if they're willing to take more and more risks on these kind of D-ranked Marvel characters, honestly, that gets me super excited because that means we might be one step closer to a Moon Knight movie.
Maybe.
Okay, so that's so we don't generally talk about rumors and speculation,
right?
So just prior to San Diego Comic-Con coming out, that there is people around Keanu Reeves have been talking about Moon Knight stuff. And trying to convince everybody at Marvel and for him to be like, yes.
Oh, God.
Imagine Keanu Reeves calling up Kevin Feige and be like, yeah, I'm playing Moon Knight. We're doing that. Sorry.
That's weird for me because Moon Knight's a character that I loved growing up that, like, nobody knew who the fuck he was. And for, like, for it to get a, like, Keanu Reeves treatment and then all of a sudden everybody knows Moon Knight, I am completely here for it, and also B would be like, where were you 10 years ago?
You'll be the most hipstery.
I would be
the most hipstery about it. I'd be like,
10 years ago, my ass. Like, I think it's further back than
oh
that,
God,
isn't
yes.
it? Yeah,
God,
so
God.
like
I was a kid when I was loving Moon Knight for no particular
I can just see
reason.
like old James, like beard down to his nipples, like I liked this before it was cool.
But no, that's a rumor that's going around, and honestly, if that does come to fruition at any point where we get Keanu Reeves playing Moon Knight, it's quite possibly the most, like, aside from Thor, the most exciting thing I could fucking think of at this point.
We'll get Reeves eventually. The Keanu-sans is alive and well and going strong.
And we know that he wants to do something within the universe.
I read a rumor recently that Kojima was offered a Keanu Reeves in a video game thing when he was making Death Stranding and decided to go with Mads Mikkelsen instead.
It's not a bad choice.
Honestly,
good fucking choice.
Honestly, I'm really happy that he went with Mads Mikkelsen and not Keanu Reeves. Just because the memes alone of the "you're breathtaking" coming out on the Xbox stage is like, oh, so fucking good.
Okay,
you wouldn't have gotten that
Let's
otherwise.
kind of start getting this wrapped up. We had a lot of stuff that we talked about here. Let's just do a quick round table for the panel. Your thoughts about San Diego Comic-Con as a whole?
I mean, it was exactly what it is every year. It's a whole bunch of other news and then all the Marvel stuff. Was there, like, we didn't say anything about any DC movies coming up. Was there even a panel?
No, all the DC stuff that was shown was they did a little bit of stuff on the DC universe, and then it was mostly them talking about the upcoming comics. Most of which
they didn't even show anything about the Infinity War or whatever the fuck they're calling.
They're not calling it that.
Yeah, whatever they're calling their version of Infinity War or whatever. Fucking their giant crossover shit for
the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, they're Infinity War.
Well, that's that's television though. Like they have movies in the actual chamber ready to fire.
Do they?
They didn't say a thing.
Do they?
I didn't put that in the news this week, but it's worth at least briefly mentioning that the Crisis on Infinite Earths show for CW, the big crossover event between Arrow and everything else that they're doing, recently cast let's see here. Was it Burt Ward who played Robin in the Batman 1960s show to show back up, but possibly as Robin.
Probably he's probably playing as Robin and from Batman 66.
I mean, considering the history they have with that, with the Flash.
And we also now we're going to have at least 2 Supermen in this crossover.
Yeah, we're having Brandon Routh's original Superman, which was a continuation of the Richard Donner films, because Richard Donner...
Yeah, the Christopher Reeve Superman just...
Yeah, there was specifically the Richard Donner movies 1 and 2, because Christopher Reeve also did on like 3 and 4, but Richard Donner only did 1 and 2, and he had Superman fly away. And then whenever they had... when they had Brandon Routh... storyline come out, that movie is specifically Superman 3.
Right.
It is supposed to be just go negate those other ones. This is what actually happened.
So Brandon Routh's going to be playing 2 characters in the crossover.
Yeah, no, he can do it.
He's going to be playing Adam and Superman, but we'll also have the Superman from the CW series.
Right.
So whatever they're doing with this Crisis on Infinite Earths on CW is just going to be batshit insane, and I'm here for it.
No, I can't wait. It's like my favorite TV event of the last couple of years has been the CW DC universe crossovers.
The CW crossover where they fucking fight Nazis and shit. You're like, yes, kill all the Nazis.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So San Diego Comic-Con. Final thoughts. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. I love all the Marvel news I've heard. There's some of it not so surprising, but a lot of it good because it was surprising. And I'm here for that. If they had come up and they said, well, here's Guardians 3 and here's, Black Panther 2 and here's all the stuff is coming, I'd be like, all right, I'd shrug and I'd be like, yeah, I'm excited for that, but I already was. This new stuff, super into. Can't wait. Yep, glad the new comics are coming out and stuff like that. There was a little bit of stuff on The Expanse I was very interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good show.
Yeah. What about you, Tony?
This is the first year in many years I can remember that San Diego Comic-Con actually did have a good amount of news specifically about comic books.
Yes.
Things that DC was doing their panels and just discussing what they're currently doing, Marvel making announcements, and all these indie companies being like, hey, this is who we're working with, these are the things that we're making, and people actually giving a fuck. Because for the past 10 to 15 years, San Diego Comic-Con has been, where am I going to go see Twilight shit? Where am I going to go see movie stuff?
That's a very outdated reference.
But it's very specific because it took over and fundamentally changed the way San Diego Comic-Con was seen by the general audience.
It was Twilight that did that.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And you had more shows that ended up doing those things where I guess True Blood kind of had a place where it maybe should have been there, but it was there all the fucking time. And you had all these games and TV shows that had zero placement for them. And it feels like that's getting dialed back a little bit.
Right.
And we're actually getting more comic focused. Comics are definitely not the point of a comic book convention at this point. They super aren't. Comic books are like the 5th thing on the list, maybe.
But as we look at San Diego Comic-Con and the rise of comic books coming back into the mainstream like we've been talking about today, I feel like that does have something to do fundamentally with the fact that sales of comic books have been going up because of things.
They have because of things. Specifically, we have to give the congratulations to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not DC. They did not fucking save the comic book industry. Marvel saved the comic book industry. That
DC is reaping the rewards.
DC is reaping the rewards because they're writing fundamentally better books.
Yeah.
But getting people to go into a comic book store and be like, "Hey, I really like whatever movie," and they're like, "Cool." Read DC shits because it's amazing.
Right.
And people who have been reading comic books are pushing that out there, and more people are reading them. So where San Diego is becoming a little bit more comic book focused, and whereas is just straight up has not been in the past. This is it was a good fresh air to see that this was a year where we actually got comic book news.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I've been so down on it for years of doing this show. Every time we get to do San Diego, I'm like, cool, we're not going to talk about comic books. It's going to be whatever TV shows are coming out. And I fucking hated it. And yeah, we had to spend the majority of this time talking about Marvel because, again, if it had not been for Marvel, we would not be getting to talk about these comic books being done because they reinvigorized the entire fucking industry.
And frankly, there was just a lot of Marvel news.
There was.
And this is their time to shine.
Mind you, they took last year off.
They did.
They took last year off.
They didn't need to say anything last year. They're like, hey,
they took
y'all get your tickets yet?
They took San Diego off, but they didn't take off the D23 Summit or whatever the Disney Summit is. They didn't take off one of the other Summit things that they do where they talk about the shows. So it's not exactly like they did a media silence for 365 days.
They just didn't need to spend the money to go to Comic-Con to say like, hey, we can't talk about anything after Endgame, obviously.
And I think that-
and you all already bought Endgame tickets.
And
so
I think that the same thing that happened with E3, with people bowing out, you get to have a lot more focus on independent developers and smaller people coming in there to show off their new interesting products. And we cared more about that, right? Like this last E3, we're like, fuck, all these other cool shit. Like, tons of these indie games were cool as shit. Who the fuck cares about Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, what they're doing? Because all this other shit was so cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we're getting that with San Diego now. We get like, well, everybody else is fucking off and not being here showing us their movies. We actually get to talk about some cool shit for once. And that's what I feel like this is maybe the beginning of. That's cool. And I'm happy about that. Yeah. Like, I was actually I was super wary at the beginning of the weekend whenever everything first started coming out. And up until today where I was actually reading articles and seeing what actually happened, I was actually able to go, fuck, I feel alleviated. All that stress of dealing with the crap of San Diego wasn't necessarily there this year.
Yeah, not a single piece of Twilight news.
Well, that's a good for obvious reasons. But my comment still holds. We didn't have that level of a young adult thing that I absolutely can't stand. Why is it even here? Has no place being here, being shown off. Yeah, there was a couple things like that were at San Diego, but not overtaking to where that's where the merch bags were. Right. That's what every piece of marketing was.
That was the 8-hour line, for the convention center.
That was just us waiting for the Expanse panel.
Exactly.
Because there's no comic books about the Expanse. They're just books.
But the Expanse, though.
I'm not sure. They're going to make comic books for the Expanse. I'm just let y'all know. Let you know, in the next couple of years, we're getting the comic. Like, Amazon's dumb with their money, so they're going to make some really bad ones, but you're going to get them.
They've got to dump some money pretty fast or they're going to get taxed on it.
All right, that is everything that we have for the show this week. I'm just super thankful that we had an awesome Comic-Con experience, getting to get all this Marvel movie news, obviously super excited. The TV news is super exciting. But again, to go back to Tony's point, just some great comic book news.
Yeah.
And that gets me so excited as somebody who goes into the shop every week and picks up new titles. Like, I'm excited for Chip Zdarsky to maybe someday write an issue of Daredevil where he just shows his junk because he can now.
Yeah.
Because he's an Eisner Award winning fucking writer now. So,
so here's a dick.
Here's Daredevil's junk because I can do that because I'm an award winning writer. So that's everything that we have for the show this week. This is episode 320. This was all about San Diego Comic-Con. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to tell us what your hype level is for any of the things that we've talked about today, Tony, where can they find us?
At the Silly Nerd on Twitter. Info@thesilly.com is our email address. Thesilly.com is our website. You can listen to the show, read some things, donate if you want. Donate also on twitch.tv/silly-nerd, Mondays, 7:30 Central-ish, because we don't really exist on a schedule. We have a schedule, but we're like 7:30 is about when we should do it there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's like, it's party time. It's like, don't show up at somebody's house at 6:30 when they're like parties at 8. Like, that's fucking rude. We're not going to do that to you. We'll be around 7:30.
Yeah.
So yeah, just give us ratings, reviews, thumbs up, donates, all that bullshit.
All right.
Cheers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next week, adventures for Tony. This is James.
For James, it's Tony.
I'm Hector.
Adventures. Good night.
And good game.
Nice.
My ending thing went on way too long. We went way too long on that.
Oh man.
I was like, I'm trying to y'all just kept interrupting. I'm like, I'm trying to just finish. Quit adding things. Quit adding to the pile of things I'm happy about.
Keep interrupting because you keep using Twilight as a reference point for Comic-Con.
It was as the most detrimental thing to ever happen at Comic-Con. I think it deserves its place in explaining why it's awful.
A reference from 10 years ago is the most detrimental thing.
The movie? Yes, the movies. They showed. They did a Comic-Con panel a little while ago, and it kind of forced a lot of other things out because of its popularity.